Hi, everybody. Hi. How are you? I hope you're good. Hang on, this music's getting just a touch aggressive. Take it down just a touch. Hi. Yeah, welcome to Mr. Weber's Web O Mystery. There we go. I'm still not sure if I want to wear the hat. I don't know. It's fun. I like it, but I'm just not sure. Anyway, let's get the show started. There we go.
Mr. Weber's Web O Mystery. Ah. Mr. Weber's Web O Mystery. Oh, oh, oh.
It's fun, right?
Mr. Weber's Web O Mystery. Ah. Mr. Weber's Web O Mystery. Oh, oh, oh.
What am I doing? I'm trying There we go. I'm trying to find the volume. So, yeah, welcome to the show. It's a shambles. I won't lie to you. It's a lot for one man to handle, and yeah. Welcome, Amoral Crackpot, aka our friend Stevie, who is a regular as we perform Retro Rangers, which is normally our Sunday show, but we had to take time off. My co-host Joe Townsell, he's got all sorts of stuff going on right now, and this is a show I always wanted to do anyway, and it's relatively easy for me to do. Which I know is not a big selling point for you, huge selling point for me. Yeah, let's get all this started. Here we go. I don't know about the hat. I don't know. I like it, but it's work. It's a lot to wear. And I'm still not even sure if the legs read. But it's a fun hat, and it was made by my friend Kathy. For a play that we did a long time ago. Is the mystery why the hat? Asks Amoral Crackpot, aka Stevie. I will just be referring to her as Stevie from this point on. The mystery is not the hat. The mystery is the radio shows that we're going to be listening to. And I invite you to comment in the comment section as Stevie does. And I will throw them up on the screen during the show. I used to do a show of old time radio plays and shows and such because I love them. It's one of my favorite hobbies in the whole world. And it was called Captain John's Haunted Radio from Space. I think it had the longest name. This one isn't exactly a short name, I will admit, but yeah, it's is it the Stevie asks, is it the radio show? Yes. Yes, the radio show is actually a title that I had quite a while back, and I was going to use it, but then my friends and my wife and I started a stage show of performing old time radio shows, performing the scripts, and we're calling that the radio show. So this one is going to be the Web O Mystery. It's something I thought it up when I was like 19 or 20. It was like, someday I want to have a show where I'm a horror host, and it's called Mr. Weber's Web O Mystery. Ha ha! And I never lost the desire to do that. So I'm going to play a couple of shows for you. One I don't know really well. We did play it on Haunted Radio like 2-3 years ago, and I've never listened to it since. So that'll be fun. We'll listen to that this time. And then I'm going to make sure my speakers are right. I'm so sorry I didn't check this before. Yeah, we're good. Because that would take planning and intelligence, and I am not great at either of those things. But let's start with this show, Bella Kiss. If you have any comments, feel free to type them into the comment section. And just a reminder, if you're listening to this as a podcast, you can always catch it live. I will be doing this show. Right now, the plan is doing this show every Sunday at 5 p.m. It will be under an hour. It will be uninterrupted. So we'll be listening to these shows together. And if you're here for the live video stream, you can comment. And if the comments are working and they're not too dirty, come on, let's keep it clean. It's still very early. If they're family friendly, I'd be more than happy to put those comments up on the screen and probably laugh at them, because as you know, I love it when people make me laugh. I'm a pretty easy laugher, and I appreciate everybody's opinion. I do love the comments that are coming from Stevie so far. He's lying. He came into the world a grown man of 6 foot something, full beard, smelling of Trader Joe's. Okay, that's funny and not entirely untrue. Stevie also says it's 2 a.m. somewhere. See, that's the thing. I think of this as like a late night show, but it's a lot to do it late at night. So right now we're going to be doing it at 5 p.m. Because we got listeners on the East Coast, maybe in London. Maybe. Oh, we don't. Who am I even kidding? All right, let's get started on our first show. I want to try to keep this whole broadcast under an hour. First show is Bella Kissed from, I believe, Unsolved Mysteries. Let me.
Unsolved Mysteries. Out of deference to persons who may still be living, character names in some of these true unsolved mysteries have been changed. The moving finger writes, and having writ moves on, nor all thy piety nor wit can lure it back to cancel half a line, nor all thy tears wash out a word of it. In all the history of crime and criminals, the truth of that quotation was never better proved than in the amazing case of Bela Kiss, the mystery man of Europe. It is the year 1914. The scene is the office of the Chief of Police in Budapest. The Chief is seated behind his desk, while in the doorway stands a woman. Her face is white. Terror stares from her eyes, and her hands tremble as she tears her tiny handkerchief to pieces.
But, Chief, you must believe me. Your assistant does not. But I tell you, someone will be killed if you do not listen to what I have to say.
Now, sit down, my child. Calm yourself. I am ready to listen to your story.
Last night I went to the theater. I sat next to a gentleman. We looked like a gentleman. We spoke about the program, you understand?
I understand. And having spoken to him of the program, he suggested you have supper?
Yes, we went for a drive in his motor car.
And he asked you how you'd like to visit his home.
Yes, sir, but how...
How do I know? It's always the same story. Of how much money did he rob you?
Money, sir, I had no money. He did not rob me. He tried to kill me. It was horrible. I nearly died of fright.
No. Complete the story.
I went to his home. A castle it was. He asked if I would like to have my fortune told. I said yes. He told me to gaze in the crystal globe. But first he gave me some pale yellow wine to drink.
Yeah, go on.
I felt my senses slipping away from me. I was staring hard in the crystal. A shadow, I know not what, made me glance in the mirror. I saw him. He stood behind me, his eyes glaring, green they were, eyes of fire, his face almost black. And in his hand he held a piece of green silk cord. It was looped and had a slip knot. He was going to slip it over my head.
Yes, and then?
Then I fainted. The next thing I knew, I was lying among the shrubbery in Erskine Park.
Very well. We will look into the matter.
You do not believe me, do you?
Oh, I would not say that. No,
Sorry. Someday you will regret. Goodbye.
3 weeks later, a wealthy society woman tells a similar story to the Budapest chief of police. 4 weeks later, another. In each instance, the description given by the women of the castle, of the fiend who drugged them, is the same. The World War breaks out, and the police department is disrupted. But the citizens of Vienna and Budapest are terrified at the alarming number of missing women. On farms, in gardens, behind hedges, in abandoned buildings, bodies in various stages of decomposition are found. And all are bodies of women. The chief is frantic, and with a woman assistant and 2 detectives scouring the countryside in search of a building that will answer the description of the castle, he meets a government official.
Well, Chief, what are you doing out here? Seeing the country?
Well, what are you doing here?
The government has ordered the seizure of all gasoline for the war, you see. I'm detailed to this district. I'm in a few minutes going to that castle upon the hill.
Oh, the castle? May we go with you?
Certainly, it will be a pleasure. Oh, this is Herr Hartmann. He is the gentleman who told us there's gasoline stored at the castle. But get into the car. We should be off.
Oh, yes, indeed. I am stories here around here.
It's an unusual country.
You know, there is a tragic story behind that castle. Yes? Indeed, yeah. Belakis, he owned the castle, has a very beautiful wife. They were so happy. Everybody in the village was happy in their love. But alas,
Yeah, what?
she disappeared. Poor Belakis was desolate. She had run away with a younger man. It was terrible. What did he look like, this Belakis? He was a handsome man, tall, elegant, thin-faced, I would say, and black-haired, high cheekbones.
It's the same man.
It's the description given by these different women, all right. You're looking for him. Yeah, we certainly are. But go on. What is the finish to the story?
An old woman went to do the cleaning at the castle. Belakis told her she must not go into a certain room. Regular Bluebeard story. But the old woman, like all old women, was inquisitive. She looked.
And saw what?
5 big vats.
We have good reason to believe these vats contain gasoline. Oh, but here we are at the place. We'll soon know for certain.
Out of the car pour the officers. The empty castle rings to their footsteps as they make their way to the forbidden room. Strangely enough, the key is in the lock. The door creaks. There are the 5 vats against the wall. A strong odor of alcohol. They move forward and look into the vats. Horror stamps their faces as they see in each vat a naked woman, and around each neck the bluish mark made by the strangler's cord.
Name of all the saints. Where is the wreck?
This is ghastly. I have come to find gasoline, and I find 5 corpses.
5? Yes, but with all the corpses found throughout the city.
The garden. Get the men to dig the garden.
I shall have it done. On the instant, I shall have it done.
Yes, and you, Herr, you know of this monster, this Belakis. Where is he?
He was killed in the war.
26 bodies of women were found buried in Belakis's garden. Over 160 pawn tickets relating to the women's wearing apparel and jewelry. Furious that death in the war had cheated him the capture of the monster, the chief returned to Budapest and tried to forget the horror of the 5 vats. The war over, the chief is sitting in his office when through the door bursts the woman who had first warned him of Belakis.
I have seen him. I saw him today, not half hour ago.
Why, who? What are you talking
The
about?
man who tried to kill me at the castle. I saw him, I tell you.
Oh, impossible. I have checked the war records. He was killed in Serbia in 1916. See, here are the records. I have kept them. Belakis died of wounds August 9th, 1916.
I do not care. Do you think I could forget him? Never, never, I tell you. He is alive, this fiend.
But it's impossible, I tell you. Belakis is dead.
But soon the chief was to doubt his vehement assertions, for within a month he was to hear another story of a woman almost strangled under identical circumstances, although at a different place from the now empty castle. Besides this, the terror of missing women returned to haunt the citizens, and once again the decomposed bodies of long-dead women were found in desolate places. In just a moment, you will hear a solution to the strange case of Bela Keith, the mystery man of Europe. Ladies and gentlemen, inasmuch as any solution must of necessity be supposition, liberties of time, place, and character have been taken in the solution for which you have been waiting. The solution of why the murders continued in the same manner as before Bela Keith's reported death in the war is taken from the statements of the Chief of Police of Budapest, who supplied the information, which, to the best of our belief, has never been published in American newspapers. The scene is the hospital in which Bela Keith had been reported as having died of wounds. The Chief of Police, remembering how the first woman had warned him of the fiend's activities, determines to carry his investigation further than the official army records reporting death. The Chief questions a nurse.
You, of course, know of the murders in and around Vienna and Budapest.
Yes, naturally. Although, like everyone else on war service, I was too busy to really keep up with the reports.
Well, we did not give all our information to the press. We decided that we would have more success by keeping something secret.
I can understand that.
Now, this man, Fiend is a better name, has probably been responsible for the death of over 300 women. I would like to find out if there are any hospital records other than the official report of Bela Keith's death.
You don't mean that Bela Keith is the man you suspect?
I do. In fact, it isn't suspicion. It is an established fact.
But that's impossible. I nursed Bela Keith till he died. And a young and pious-minded boy of 20 could hardly...
20? Why, Bela Keith was over 40.
Not the Bela Keith who died here in this hospital. He was a young boy, I tell you, and I know I nursed him till he died.
Ah, then I have the solution. How badly wounded was Bela Keith when he was brought here?
There never was any hope that he might recover. Anyone could have seen that he must die.
And Bela Keith, the real Bela Keith, undoubtedly exchanged his identification disc and papers with the wounded man, knowing full well that the young boy would be buried as Bela Keith. And he, the monstrous wretch, free to pursue his murderous career unhindered. But I'll get him. I'll get him.
Back to Budapest races the chief. For 4 days he works feverishly, taking no one into his confidence, but ordering his men to stand by. One night, to a house on the outskirts of town, drive 2 police cars filled with officers. The chief leads the way from the back of the house to one of the upper rooms.
Now, listen, you men. Listen. I want absolute silence. I am decided in my own mind that Bela Keith has trapped the various women he has killed by advertisements in the papers. So I decided to use his methods and inserted this advertisement. I'll read it. Young woman, widow, with moderate fortune and with moderately good looks, desires company of men of culture, preferably 40 or over. Must be tall and dark. Object, matrimony.
And you expect Bela Keith to answer that?
He has answered it. He'll be here.
A taxi at the door. A man is getting out.
Ah, gee, it's Bela Keith.
He looked up. He's getting back into the taxi.
After him, quick.
Down the stairs rush the police. The taxi, with Bela Keith standing on the running board, speeds toward the river with the police car in pursuit.
He's going to shoot. Get him. Get him.
Bela Keith slumps. He's hit, but he hangs on. The taxi reaches the bridge. Another burst of bullets. Several shots take effect, but with one last effort, Bela Keith throws himself from the taxi, pulls himself over the parapet of the bridge, falls like a plummet, and disappears forever under the foaming waters of the Danube. And so, coincidence, the World War, a search for gasoline, A nurse who remembered a patient provides the solution for a 15-year-old unsolved mystery. Bela Kiss, the mystery man of Europe.
This is Mr. Weber's Web O Mystery. I'm pretty sure it's just music at this point, so I am going to talk over it. Stevie, that was a great suggestion. Thank you. It's really interesting how they reference the story of Bluebeard. Not a story I know incredibly well, but it is basically, handsome man gets a gal in his castle. He's a serial killer, she finds out. Stevie is writing in the comments, there was a theater group here in Long Beach that did classic radio style shows, but I think they went poof after the pandemic. Yeah, I would really hope that people would rediscover the stage and how to get things on the stage. That is one of my favorite things to do, and people love it. People enjoy it. And as I mentioned earlier, we are working, my wife, my friends and I, we are working on a radio show that we will do on stage. It's called the Radio Show. And the whole idea behind the Radio Show is that we are there primarily to make the sound effects and to have the music, and all of the acting is stuff that we also do. But it's a mixture of how groups normally do it. Normally you get a big line of actors and a big line of microphones, and they're all holding their script, and then they hide the sound effects team, the Foley team, over in the corner, and then they hide the musician over in the other corner, and it's relatively static. These shows can be incredibly enjoyable, don't get me wrong, but I've done them before. A lot of people have done them before. And we thought, what if we were all doing sound effects? What if the whole cast and the person at the keyboard, what if we were all contributing and building this story through sound, and our acting was just kind of incidental? We're pretty good actors. I mean, I love the people I'm working with, and they're all great actors. So we're not as worried about that. We're more worried about, can we make good sound effects? I'll let you know as that show gets closer and closer. Maybe we can follow up on it a little bit in the future. It is another one of my passions, but my passion, of course, right here, right now, is playing you old-time radio shows. I really wanted, with this series, to play you the shows that I love, that really made it happen for me. I consider some of these the greatest shows that were ever done. And I will dig those up for you in the future. We're going to keep listening to those because I really want you to hear what I hear, and hopefully you'll like it as much as I like it. Our feature presentation tonight, because again, we're going to try to get out of here in under an hour. Our feature presentation is just under a half hour. It's from a show called Quiet Please. We did play it on Haunted Radio a couple years ago, and it did not get the attention I think it deserves. So as I was putting together this show, I thought, let's dig this one up. It's called The Thing on the Fourble Board. This is an unusual show that it's from. This is an episode of the series Quiet Please, which was created by a writer and director named Willis Cooper. Willis Cooper is known for the Campbell Soup Radio Hour, Also, Lights Out. He worked on a show called Lights Out, which was a great and frightening show, and people love it. Oh, they love Lights Out. But Willis Cooper left at one point to do his own thing, and that became Quiet Please. He has got a really great touch with his scripts, and it's I think you're going to like this one. This is considered one of the scariest and best written horror stories in the history of old time radio. It's called The Thing on the Fourble Board. It's called The Thing on the Fourble Board. I hope I edit that correctly later. And we're going to play it for you now. If you want to join me in the comment section with Stevie. Stevie Arviso and I are cracking wise while these shows are playing, and live performances of Webo Mystery are going to have that. You can always join us and chat along with us. And I will throw all of these comments up on the screen. Almost all of them. Pretty sure all of them. All right, let's go. I'm yelling at me. I'm not yelling at you. It's time for The Thing on the Fourble Board.
The Mutual Broadcasting System presents Quiet Please, which is written and directed by Willis Cooper and which features Ernest Chappell. Quiet Please for tonight is called The Thing on the Fourble Board. Me, I'm a roughneck. Well, I was a roughneck, 20 years ago. A little too old, too slow now. Besides, I got $1 now. I don't have to be a roughneck, you see. Married, got a nice home. Had to meet my wife. Hey, Mike. Her name's Maxine, but she likes to be called Mike. Mike! I guess she's busy out in the kitchen someplace. Besides, she doesn't hear very well. Shame, too. She's so pretty and everything. Well, you'll meet her. Sit down. I was saying I was a roughneck. Well, no, that doesn't mean exactly what you think it means. A roughneck is an oil field worker, specifically a guy in a drilling crew. Call them roughnecks like you call a section hand on the railroad a gandy dancer, a garage hand a grease monkey. Same time you work around a drilling crew for a while, you're going to be a roughneck in every sense of the word, boy. A derrick floor or a fourble board's no place for a guy with a bow tie. Because when you have to fool around with drilling holes that go farther down the ground than it is from the top of Pike's Peak down to sea level, sure they do. The time I was a roughneck, we got this one well down to 7,313 feet. That was a record. But last May, Pure Oil brought one in out in the Natrona Valley in Wyoming at 14,309 feet. That, friend, is almost 3 miles. Quite a hole, that, huh? Sure, I don't think there's an oil man in the world that don't wonder one time or another what's down there, besides rock and oil and gas. Oil that's made out of trees that died 20 million years ago. Oil that's made out of dinosaur bones. Oil that's maybe made out of the flesh and blood of men, maybe, that beat each other to death with a stone axe, ate saber-toothed tiger for lunch. Yeah, you get to wondering. You look at the cores that come up from way down there, and sometimes there's little shells, trilobites mostly, that was alive when Manhattan Island, where New York is, was under half a mile of ice. We found something once, me and Billy Grunwald, and something found us. I'll tell you about it. We were down to around 5,400 feet. We'd set casing. We began to get water, so we had to stop drilling and cement off. Well, you see, when water begins to seep in the hole, you pull your drill pipe, then you let down a cementing shoe inside the casing, and you plug up the bottom of the hole, casing and all, with quick hardening waterproof cement. Then when it's hard, you drill through the cement and go on down, and the cement outside the casing at the bottom keeps the water out. Well, we had the drill pipe all pulled and cracked. The cement was setting sea. So he was shut down, waiting for it to harden. We'd been coring just before. Well, you see, a core drill is hollow. And as the bit digs down, it stuffs the drillings up inside it, so when you pull it out, you got a sample of the kind of stuff you're going through. And a geologist can tell a lot from that. So there's nobody around the rig except me that night. The rest of the crew's going into town. I was toasting some pork chops over the forge for my supper. I heard a car pulling up. Look out, it's Billy Grunwald, the geologist, and I give him a hello. Hi, Billy, come and have a pork chop.
Hi, Porky. Where's everybody?
Yeah, all went to town. I'm the whole crew.
I had 3 blowouts between here and Oxnard.
Yeah, I wondered where you was. Ted said you'd be in here about 3.
Yeah, I would have been, except for my tough luck. Oh, I'm dead.
Yeah, hungry?
Starved.
Yeah, I got 7 pork chops. And bread. And some coffee, kind of.
Swell. Yeah, I got a bottle in the car.
We're going to have a banquet.
Hey, where's that core? That's what I came up here to look at.
Yeah, back there on the bench. Look at it after supper.
Hey,
What?
didn't you say you were all alone here?
Uh-huh.
I thought I heard somebody talking.
I don't see anybody. Keep an eye on that pork chop. You won't have any supper.
Yeah, I'm watching it.
Here, let me put the coffee on. Like so.
When'd you finish cementing?
This morning. Last tower only made about 10 feet of holes, so Ted shut down before we get flooded out of house and home.
Funny about that water.
How?
Oughtn't to be any at that level, according to my figuring.
Well, there is.
Is it salt?
Sure, right out of the bottom of the ocean.
That's funny. Well, maybe I'll be able to tell something from the core. Yeah, I hope so. The last core I looked at, I'd have sworn we were getting into shale.
Ain't seen none yet from the cuttings.
That's funny.
Here, your pork chop's done. Yeah, take some bread.
Yeah, thanks. Oh, man.
Good, huh? Yeah, put on another. I had 2 already before you come.
Yeah, much obliged. Yeah, you never can tell what's down there. You get it all mapped and plotted out, all the strata. And all you know is what comes out of the hole.
Yeah. I'd like to go down there sometime if I was little enough.
Never get you down a hole.
Yeah, you'd fit. You're skinny.
I'll stay up here and look at the cores, Bud. Where is that one?
Behind you. Over there.
Oh. Well, I'll have a look at it.
Well, why don't you wait till you finish your supper?
I'm just going to look at it. Put on another pork chop for me.
Okay.
Well, I wish those screech owls would keep...
What's the matter?
Hey, wait a minute, Porky.
Well, why did...
Listen.
What's eating you?
You know, I'd have sworn there's somebody up there in that Fourble Board.
Ah, you're crazy. There's nobody up there.
Getting against those stands of drill pipe.
Ah, they're just rack crooked. One of them slipped. Come on back and eat your pork chop.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. Only I...
What you so jittery about, Billy? Come on, eat your sandwich. Here.
Yeah, well, thanks, Porky. I don't know. I'm just naturally that way, I guess. I'm always scared of the dark. Doggone it, I hate to be a baby, but I can't help it.
Scared of the dark? Honest?
Stupid, ain't it?
Oh, I don't know. Everybody's scared of something. Me. Spiders scare the tar out of me. Black widows. Oh. I know how you feel, Billy.
There another light over here?
Yeah. Here.
Ah. Oh. That's better. Hey, listen, Porky. Go out to the car and look in the left-hand door pocket and bring back that bottle, will you? That's what I need.
Okay, kid. Okay. So I picked up a flashlight. I turned around and went outside. I found a car. Then I got the bottle. And the floor of the derrick was all lit up, and when I saw a beam of light suddenly flash up toward the Fourble Board, I laughed. Billy Grunwald and his ideas. Sure, I looked up. There wasn't a darn thing up there except the drill pipe racked against the fingerboard. Oh, this Fourble Board. Well, you've seen oil derricks or pictures of them. Do you know that little platform that runs around the outside of the derrick about halfway up? Well, that's the Fourble Board. Well, you see, a drill pipe comes in lengths, and you handle them with several lengths screwed together so as to save time getting them in and out of the hole. 2 lengths is a double, 3 is a triple, 4 is a fourble. When you pull the pipe, you heist it up inside the derrick with a traveling block, which moves up and down from the crown block at the top of the derrick. Then when a fourble of pipe is pulled out, it's held in the rotary table. You break the joint with tongs, like a great big Stilton wrench, you see. Snub a cable that's fastened to the handle over the cathead on the drawworks, and that breaks the joint. Then you hold the tongs on the pipe, give the rotary table a few turns to unscrew it. You heist away with the traveling block and swing it over against the fingerboard, lean it against the derrick. The guy up on the Fourble Board takes off the traveling block. You do it all over again till you got all the pipe out, you see? Well, there wasn't anybody up on the Fourble Board except a screech owl, and it flew away. So Billy turned his light off, and I come on inside. And just as I come up the steps, he let out a yell.
Yay!
What's the matter? What's the matter, Billy?
Hey, come here. Look here.
Well, what's it?
Look, Porky.
My... Where did you find that?
Now, listen, Porky, I give you my word. That was embedded in the core.
Why, it couldn't be.
I tell you it was. Look where I dug it out. You know what? That rock there comes from a mile underground. And it's been a mile underground for 1,000,000 years. And look at this.
And I did look. And what he was holding was a gold ring. And it was all carved and filigreed just like jewelry. And there wasn't any kidding about it. It was real. No, wait a minute. Hang on, I ain't done. I poked at the core of rock that looked like a kind of petrified salami or something. And then it was my turn to pretty near jump out of my pants. Because right alongside the place where Billy dug out the ring, there was a mud-covered but very unmistakable finger. I picked it up, and it was cold, and it was heavy, and it was solid rock. At least it felt like solid rock. And I looked at Billy, and Billy looked at me. He started to rub the mud off this here stone finger. And as he rubbed it, it begun to disappear. No, he could still feel it, he said, but when the mud was gone, neither one of us could see it. And he dropped it to the derrick floor. It went clunk, and we couldn't find it any place. So you know what we done? Well, we took that bottle and we took and finished it, Billy and me. We finished it in one slug apiece, and it was a full pint of bathtub gin. It tasted just like so much well water to me. And then we sat down on the derrick floor and we looked at each other. We didn't say a word. My eyes got heavier and heavier. The last thing I remember was I heard some kind of noise that seemed to be coming up from down the Fourble Board 80 feet above us. I shut my eyes a minute. I guess I went to sleep. And I had awful dreams. Black Widow. Spiders crawling all over me with gold rings on their legs. Things I could hear, but I couldn't see up on the Fourble Board. Billy Grunwald climbing up the ladder outside the derrick in the moonlight. Faces looking at me, and I couldn't figure out who they were. Then I was waked up by a horrible scream. A crash alongside me that shook the whole derrick. I opened my eyes to see Billy Grunwald lying on the floor 2 feet away with a broken neck. With a broken neck, and his left hand Well, he put the gold ring on the little finger of his left hand, and the way his arms were spread out, his left little finger and the ring were gone. Well, friend, I got out of there. I run down to where Billy had left his car, and I got in. I stepped on the starter. And I couldn't get it to go, and then I remembered after I'm pretty near run down the battery that Billy had taken a key. I wasn't going up there and go through a dead man's clothes to get it. So I sat there in the car and shivered all by myself till daylight. And then Ted and the crew came. Afterwards, a state cop, and everybody in the world was asking me questions.
Did you and Billy have a fight, Porky?
I told you we didn't, Ted.
But you had been drinking.
We only had that little pint, Ted.
Well, what was he doing up on the Fourble Board?
Did you threaten him, and did he run up there to get away from
Listen,
you?
cop, don't be a chump. Billy Grunwald and I were good friends.
Then why'd you push him off the Fourble Board?
I didn't, I tell you. I wasn't up there.
Oh, what did he go up there for?
I don't know. I was asleep.
How do you know he was up there?
I didn't say he was. You said so. Besides, how would he break his neck if he didn't fall from way up there?
Well, look, officer. I think it was just another accident. I mean, we haven't got anything on Porky, and personally, I don't believe he did it.
Well, it's mighty mysterious.
So it is. But we got work to do. Now, how about it? That cement's hard down there, and I want to start drilling again, and I'm short-handed. Will you let Porky stay here till I run in my pipe again, and, well, then you can take him and ask him questions till you're blue in the face.
Well,
Okay. Let's get rolling. You got steam up, Happy?
I'm all set.
All right. Porky, you go from the Fourble Board.
What? Not me, Ted.
Oh, don't be such a boob. There's nobody up there to shove you overboard. And you can put a safety line around you if you want to. And besides, you're getting paid to do what you're told. I've lost too much time already. Come on, get going.
So, okay, I go up on the Fourble Board. And you can bet I took a good gander around before I did anything else. Now, I couldn't see a thing. So I signaled to the driller to let down the traveling block, and he did. Came sailing down from up above. I was just reaching for it to pick up the first Fourble of drill pipe. Gave a big jerk, and the cable broke. It dropped and nearly pulled me off the Fourble Board. And it landed right on top of Ted. And if you have any idea what a guy looks like after 2 tons of metal land on him from 80 feet up, yeah, you keep your ideas to yourself. Well, that was enough. 2 accidents in a row. The whole crew quit. They wasn't going to wait for a third. And it was Ted's money that was paying off. There wasn't any more, and as far as I know, the abandoned derrick is still there. And that was 20 years ago. Oh, I forgot to tell you something. That traveling block was right in front of my face when it broke loose. It was hanging by steel cable, 3/4-inch steel cable. And I saw that cable break right before my eyes. Looked just like a piece of string when you snap it between your fingers. I could almost see the fingers. You know what? There was something up there on the Fourble Board with me. And so a couple of days later, I came back. I don't know if there's anything in the world as desolate, as dismal, as dead-looking as an abandoned oil well rig. There it stands like a skeleton off on a deserted side road and the bare yellow hills surrounding it, and it's the deadest thing you ever saw. I sat in my car for a long time looking at it. Everything was just the way we'd left it. I looked in at the floor. The smashed traveling block was there alongside the rotary table. There was a little mutter of steam from the boiler. That was all. Then I heard a tinkle of something as it hit the ground alongside me. I looked around. There wasn't a soul in sight. But at my feet was the gold ring that Billy Grunwald and I had found in the core of rock that came from a mile underground and from 1,000,000 years ago in time. And I heard a little sound. The sound of a kid crying. And there wasn't any kid up there. And I heard it again, and it came from above my head, and I took out my revolver. I loaded it carefully. I started up the ladder to the Fourble Board. No, there wasn't anything up there, nothing I could see. There was a voice crying. The voice of a little kid. And then there was a movement behind the rack of drill pipes, and I saw the pipe move, and I yelled, "Come out of there, whoever you are! Come out or I'll start shooting!" And the stand of pipe shivered, and I thought, what can it be that can handle that heavy pipe like jack straws? And then there was a crash. The whole stand of pipe fell over, and I just got out of the way in time. And I was alone on the Fourble Board with the thing. But I couldn't see it. I felt the platform tremble under my feet again as something moved toward me. I fired 2 or 3 shots. And nothing happened. I started backwards. I knew it was following me because I could hear it meowing like a cat. My feet tripped over something. I saw it was a big can of red lead that somebody had left up there. Without thinking, I picked it up and I threw it at the sound, and it splashed. And there it was. And I wish the face of a little girl, frightened, crying with hunger and terror. Hands like a human being, and a finger missing from the left hand. And the body. Well, I'll tell you about that. I told you how I'm scared of spiders. But I knew where it came from. It had come from the bowels of the earth, come riding up on the drill pipe as we yanked it out of the well. Come to an alien world, and was lost. It stood there dripping with red paint, blood red from head to foot like some horrible dream. And it put its hand on my arm. Its hand was stone. Living, moving stone. And it looked into my eyes and mewed like a lost kitten. "20 years ago, I discovered many things about it, what it used for food, that it was deaf, that it was invisible and couldn't see people when it was invisible, that if you sprayed it with mud or paint or grease paint, makeup, then it could see people. And believe me, I didn't want to see its body. I can see that in my nightmares. But its face, I can't help wanting to see that pathetic little girl face. I'm afraid maybe I've fallen. But it's very beautiful. And when it's well made up, it's... But making it up, rubbing grease paint on a stone face that looks at you and smiles, and it makes sounds like a lost kitten yet. I can disguise the body in long dresses. She can't hear very well, and when she's hungry, I have to stay out of her way. I found out what she likes to eat, remember? No, sit still. Sit still, do. Sit still or I'll have to shoot you. I want you to meet my wife. Or rather, my wife wants to meet you. Mike. Mike. There she is. Come on in, dear.
The title of tonight's Quiet Please story is The Thing on the Fourble Board. It was written and directed by Willis Cooper and featured Ernest Chappell.
And Dan Sutter played Billy Grunwald. Pat O'Malley was Ted. And Cecil Roy,
was also a member of the cast. As usual, music for Quiet Please is played by Albert Berman. Sound by our good friend Albert April. Now, for a word about next week, here is our writer-director, Willis Cooper.
Well, I'm reasonably sure that all the characters in tonight's stories were completely fictional. At least I, for one, hope so. Next week, the story is called Presto Changeo, I'm sure.
And so, until next week at the same time, I am quietly yours, Ernest Chappell. This program was heard in Canada through the facilities of the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
And there you go. That is The Thing on the Fourble Board, an episode of Quiet Please from 1948. I don't know that Canada had anything to do with it, except, and this is actually a big part of radio history. They would make records. Basically, they would make wax recordings, and they would be sent around. And they might be sent to Armed Forces Radio Network. They might be sent to other countries. They might be sold. They might be stolen and or smuggled. And these shows often ended up in private collections, which is why we can hear them now, because somebody collected that and recorded that. Somebody made it an MP3, and then eventually I got to play it for you. Old time radio is one of my favorite things in the world, because to me, it always feels relatively current. Yeah, I am old, so, take that for what it's worth. But I love this show. I am so happy that everybody in the comments enjoyed it. It is really one of the best, and honestly, radio shows vary in so many ways. This one, the music's very simple. The sound effects are relatively simple. The cast is pretty small. But when we lots of great comments here. When we hear them now, you've heard podcasts. So it's not unusual for you to give half an hour to something you're listening to and to really get into the story. So this is what I love, and this is what Mr. Weber's Web of Mystery is going to be. Joe Townsell, my co-host of Retro Rangers, says, imagine all the kiddies scared poopless, I'll say, when listening to this. Stevie says, back when John was a youngin', radio was in black and white. Okay, that's mean, but funny and true. Diana joined us. She says, I'm going to have to catch up through replay. She wants to hear the beginning of the story. And the first show we played too was called Bella Kiss. So you'll get to catch that one if you listen to the whole recording later. Okay, everybody's doing the when John was young joke now. Diana says, when John was young, the internet came in the mail. Patrick says, nice cultivation, John. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, Patrick. I am really, this is such a treat for me because I get to listen to my favorite radio shows with my friends. That's so rare. I never get to do that. So this is actually a chance for me to do that. And hey, I think it's probably time that I ended this show. So here we go. I have an outro. I hope you like it. And that will do it for this episode of the Web O Mystery. 5 p.m. next week on Sunday. And next Sunday, I'll tell you, I'm going to play you one of the most legendary stories, one of the most legendary shows, one of the most legendary characters in all of old time radio. And I'm very excited to share that with you. So if you can't be with us live, adding to the chat, allowing you to put your jokes and your observations and your reviews reviews up on the screen. I love doing that as well. You can't be with us. You can always catch us later. Just go over to Weber Internet Team, click live for our live broadcast, and find the episodes. You'll also find episodes of lots of other shows we did. Haunted Radio, which was the precursor to this show. Of course, Retro Rangers, which is the show that regularly appears in this in this spot. I can't believe I'm almost stretching this out to an hour. John, stop it. Just say goodbye. Good night, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. I will see you next week. Bye-bye. Let me know if I should keep the hat.